What is up, Sleepers fans? Welcome into another Sleepers Media preview podcast here. I've got the man himself to talk about Duke basketball, J-Man. We're going to go through the Duke Niagara preview and just kind of talk about what fans should expect from this matchup. But J-Man, first of all, how you doing? How you feeling about this Duke team coming off of a big win over Kansas?
Yeah, look, I got to sleep on it. Subi and I did the recap, and I was both happy and a little disappointed in some things. And then the next morning, I turned on Synergy and watched the whole game again because I'm a sicko,
I
and
like it.
I feel a little bit better. There's still some things that Duke needs to do better, which I look, if I'm seeing it and I'm saying it from Synergy, I know Duke staff is saying it. I know they know. So it's
Yeah.
just the points in the paint were a little discouraging to have Kansas think they had like 40. And I think that's going to be something Duke addresses. And unfortunately for Niagara, well, fortunately for them to get paid, the bad news is
Right.
they are now going to be the subject matter of Duke working on no points in the paint. And so that's going to be tough for Niagara. But hey, at least Greg Poss is coming back and you're getting paid to come to play in Cameron.
Yeah, it's kind of tough, right? Like you're getting paid to know you're going to get beat up on the boards by Cam Boozer and Patrick Gongwa. But yeah, that's a cool angle there with Paulus and company being in the mix. Just I don't know, a little bit on Niagara. Doing some homework before this. They lost their first game of the season to Duquesne. That's probably the best team they played so far, 83-63. They beat Binghamton 67-59. They beat Delaware State 68-58. And they just lost to Lemoyne 68-74. So a lot of games in the low, like mid to low 70s, high 50s and 60s kind of vibe here. So not going to be a huge offensive output or a crazy pace game from Niagara, which I think that's fine. Like Duke is prepared to play a slow, grinded out game. I think you will see a lot of stuff featured in the post here. It's almost weird to say this coming off a win against Kansas, but there's like this could almost be like a get right game for the reason you mentioned there, trying to handle things in the paint here a little bit. This Niagara team for the year is about even with their opponents from a rebounding perspective. Honestly, they're being out rebounded by about 4 rebounds per game by their opponents so far. So that's these are much smaller teams than Duke anyway. So I think this could be like a Duke out rebounds them by 15 kind of night. Any other aspect of this game that you're really looking to, kind of focus in on?
Honestly, just the individual play from certain guys. Like
Mhm.
Dame Sar, I call him like Bitcoin, basically like a crypto coin. Like some
Sure.
games he looks great, other games he's up 20%, down 20%. And
Yeah.
Kansas game, wasn't the best for him, but he had a great game against Army, and then he had a pretty good game against Western Carolina. I think that's who, or Indiana State. And so now I want to see him, if he can bounce back from having a tough outing against Kansas and then hit his stride with Niagara and then Howard before Duke tunes up, has those two tune-up games for Arkansas. So him, Nick Kamania, like some freshmen that have shown glimpses of being promising players to also having some
Mhm.
freshman moments, just to get them more in-game reps, to get them more comfortable with what Duke's trying to do.
Yeah, those are two good names from the forward spot where I think just by virtue of like their physical gifts, they should be able to have a pretty good game here in this matchup. Saar is obviously going to be more athletic and longer than any. I know he's bigger than most of the power forward slash centers for this Niagara team, so should have some big advantage on the wing. And for Herminia, I mean, he's just like an effort guy, and I think when you're a 6'8" effort guy too, like it's just a different level for some of these mid-major teams. Just looking at this Niagara roster. Uh, Nobody over 6'8" plays any meaningful minutes here. Vice Zanke, Will Short, Justin Hawkins, like they're all 6'7", and then their guards are not particularly big either. Their best player is probably Justin Page, a 6'5" wing, but Trenton Walters is their 5'9", probably generously listed point guard. I mean, this is just not a big group overall, which I think it presents some interesting challenges the other way here too. I think probably the big topic I'm guessing for I have not listened to your guys' recap yet, but the point guard situation for Duke is going to be a recurring storyline here. I think the plus minus was pretty favorable for Caden Boozer and not so much Caleb Foster. I'd like to see if maybe they could give a little more of those responsibilities to Boozer in a game like this and see how he does matching up with like a smaller guard like Walters.
Yeah, the one thing with Caden that I would like to see is his defense just be a little bit better. He is
Yeah.
technically on synergy, he is Duke's worst defender guarding the ball or field goals against. Guys are shooting 44% against him, whereas Caleb Foster is at 26% or
Yeah,
25%.
Foster's looked pretty good to me on that end. It's just everything else, which I didn't expect to say, lockdown defender Caleb Foster at any point.
Yeah, that's the one thing he plays hard on that end, and
Yeah.
he has such big size. Everybody talks about how big and tall Duke's team is. Caleb Foster plays like a big guard, and Caden's tall, but Caden doesn't play with that big
Yeah.
physicality yet. And this is a good matchup for him to basically be the man, like be the guy
hmm
that bumps him off the line, or like you said, the 5'9" point guard. They're going to shoot a lot of threes against Duke because they have no size. So they're shooting, I think they're shooting 38% from three.
Yeah.
And that's not bad. But they're probably going to have to shoot 40 or 50 attempts
I think
because
so. Yeah.
I don't think they're getting inside the paint much, let alone inside the 3-point line. If they do get inside the 3-point line, it's a driving kick. I don't think that those
hmm
eyes are looking at the rim. They're looking for a shooter. And so
Yep.
this is a good test for Duke in that aspect of Shire really wants the guys to be disciplined to find shooters. And though Niagara is not like the biggest and the best team to face, this is still just really good in-game reps for Duke to really get the young guys more experience all around.
This is also a Niagara team that's giving up 37% from the 3-point line too, so they're not particularly good at guarding that side of things either. Where are you with Duke's offense and their 3-point shooting?
I'm content. And needs to be somewhat improved. The two worst games they've shot, it's been Spalding basketballs, and I tell people they think I'm crazy or use it as an excuse, but last year as a team, Duke shot 26% using Spalding basketballs. Con Knippel's first game at I think it was his first game, like big time opponent, he was 5 of 20, and everybody was like, "This dude stinks." Like
Right.
bench him, put Isaiah Evans in, and we know how the season went. But the two games, the Kansas game and the Texas game, Duke couldn't buy a three. And both those games they
Mhm.
used Spalding basketball. So I think as long as they use comfortable basketballs with literally any other basketball, 3-point shooting is going to be fine. I still Dame Sar, I think he was shooting like 50% from three going into the Kansas game. I think that's just going to dip to probably like he's like a 35% type of guy for the season.
Okay.
But, I want to see guys just knock them down. Like keep shooting with confidence and the result's going to be the result. But clearly Shire's offense, they have the system of backdoor cutting that gets them layups and then sets up open threes. So clearly they want to shoot those threes. They just got to make them.
Yeah, I think that's great analysis. That was one thing I was trying to keep an eye on from that Kansas game the other night. They finished 27% for the game, 7 of 26. Like that's okay against a Kansas team without most of their offensive firepower. But I think for Duke, like for this team to maximize, they've got to just be really good on that end of the floor too. And I wouldn't mind seeing them find a few more opportunities or a few ways to create some easy looks for somebody like a Darren Harris coming in. That's a guy selfishly I want to see do well, being from my neck of the woods here. But I think he really is probably one of the best shooters on the team, and doesn't get that much opportunity here too. So him and Evans, it'd be nice to see them both have like a crazy night from three or something like
Evans is the only one that doesn't get phased by the Spalding basketball. She was 3 of 7
that.
in the game against Kansas. So what? That makes Duke 4 of 19 as a team. And then the Texas
Yeah.
game, I think he hit four of like 8 from three. And so,
hmm
and to your point with Darren Harris, yeah, I thought he had a good stint. The first half, I thought he played really well against Kansas. I know the box score doesn't show it, but he just looked comfortable, and he's playing a lot better defensively than he did last year. The shot's going to come. It's too good of a shot, good looking of a shot to not fall. And so this is the perfect weekend for Darren Harris to really get his feet wet. I talked about Nick Hamania and Dame Sarr, but these are the type of guys, these type of opponents that you want to see at Darren Harris. Hey, give me 15 minutes, give me 10 points, or
Yep.
not even 10 points. Go shoot 8 shots. If you go 2 for 8, I don't care. Just get the reps in. Like go through the offense, go through the looks, and him attacking the rim against Kansas was something that I was very proud of him for going to the line, knocking down both free throws because he kind of looked timid his freshman year, of course, of like not going to the rim because he wasn't physical enough yet. And so to see him put his head down, go against going towards the rim with Tiller or Badunga or whoever it was when he got fouled, I'm like, okay, Darren Harris is being aggressive in the offense. And so yeah, he's played 7 minutes against Kansas. I think that's going to double for Niagara, and then obviously we'll save our Howard preview as well. But I just I'm excited to watch Darren Harris this weekend for sure.
He's 50, 50, 100 from the field, the three-point line, and the free throw line so far this year. Obviously on really limited sample size, only playing about 14 minutes a game through 5 games. But I do think he is like a next level shooter. So I think that'd be nice for them to figure that out. Any other guys that you'd like to see step up or that haven't gotten much opportunity yet that you think this would be a good opportunity to kind of like focus in on them or prioritize a little bit more?
Uh, I would just say maybe Caleb Foster continue to be aggressive. I think
Mhm.
the Indiana State game he shot like 12 or 13 attempts, field goal attempts, and then against Kansas he had six. And I thought again, I didn't think he played like a bad game, but I like to see him get aggressive and get look for a shot early just because it's going to help Duke. It's going to benefit Duke in the long run. I know people, me saying that out loud, I know the looks that probably just looked at, on the YouTube screen right now, but you know what? Like it's going to be a time where he's just going to have to hit a shot, hit a big
Yeah.
shot. And he had 7 straight points, I think it was against Indiana State and 3 straight possessions. That's great to see. See if he can continue to do that against inferior teams to build that confidence to be like, hey, I can take over 2 straight possessions in a certain sequence against an Arkansas or a Michigan State. Like, Duke needs him to look for his shot some, and I'm okay with it because I still think he's shooting 50% from three on the year or right around there. And he's been perfectly fine in that regard.
All right, the moment everybody's been waiting for here, prediction time. Are we on upset alert here? Do you see any potential, or can Niagara even keep this one close for a half?
They could keep it close for the first media timeout, I think. I think I think they can get it. The under 16 is where Niagara fans will be getting their phones out, taking pictures of the scoreboard if it's like 8-8 or something.
Yeah,
But I think it's going to be a blowout. Greg Paulus, though, welcome back to Durham. And I think Duke wins this one. I'm going to say 94 to 55.
I like it. Man, it must be nice to root for a team and cover a team that could actually do that to their bye game opponents. Yeah, I would have said something similar to that, just based on what both teams are doing so far this year. Like Duquesne, like we said, hung 83 on them and held them to 63. Duke is better than Duquesne. Spoiler alert for everybody here. So yeah, I think something like that seems pretty appropriate. Like a 35 plus point win. I don't know what the spread is for this one. I haven't. It's a little early here in the week, but I would probably take that action given if it gives a reasonable number. All right, Jay, man, great stuff, man. Appreciate you. We'll be back here for the recap after the fact here. Everybody tune in. Hopefully this is not a nail biter if you're a Duke fan watching this, but either way, we'll cover it all for you on Sleepers Media, and we'll catch y'all next time.